Hi there. So this is a video from Denmark, from Nørreskoven, where my car just died. So this live video is about death and rebirth. It's about some pictures that I posted of my mother, who died 9 years ago. Sunday, 9 years back, and some reactions I got from posting a photo of my dead mother in her coffin right after her death. Hi there, people says hi. So now the car died, and I thought it would be appropriate. Look, I'm out here and the car is dead. I'm out here in the forest, and I'm not able to back the car because the clutch doesn't work. It can only drive forward, and there's a hill here. Hi. There's a hill, so I cannot. The car is dead. So if for those of you who just came here, this video is about death, not only of cars but also of people. We live in a culture where we are afraid of death. It's so hot here in Denmark. It's crazy. Just a second. I know this is gonna make some noise, but I just wanna make sure that I'm not gonna die of heat. No, okay, so my car just died. Actually, it's my father's car. The clutch car died, so I cannot back, so I cannot, hi Serena, so I cannot get out of this forest. But I want to talk about death and life after death and believing in such a thing. I believe that this car has a life after death. Yeah, Maria, I'm in Nørreskoven, and the autohjælp, the helpers are coming to rescue me. So the reason why I'm posting this is because in the Western world, I can see, hi there, I can see that there's some people from India and from Asia watching right now. You guys, you have to know that in our side of the world, here in Europe and also different part of the Western part of the world, death is a taboo. So you're not supposed to talk about death because our culture is scientific. So death is something that is non-existent. Life after death is something non-existent because we cannot prove it with the means to prove things right now. Let me turn off the car again. So therefore, people are afraid because we lost now I'm not talking about everybody, I'm talking about in general, the Western society lost its belief in religions because religions place God as something outside of ourselves. It's an institution that has money involved and etc. So people lost its faith because people were abusing the power of the church, you know, even when the conquistadores of Spain went to South America, it was in the name of God, and they killed a lot of people, and so it's good that because killings in the name of God is like a contradiction so big that, of course, religion has been I mean, it's falling apart, and at least in Denmark, it's very obvious people don't come to church anymore. But this doesn't mean that there's nothing called a God. I'm not here to prove that there is a God, but I'm here to say, because I had some very wild reactions to the picture of my mother in the coffin. So I wanted to bring up the topic of death and how we fear it. I also do weekly astrology reports, and death is on the topic this week. Planet of Death, Pluto. But no matter what, if you're into astrology or not, it doesn't matter. It's still an important topic to talk about because we're all gonna experience death sooner or later in our life. Maybe we have someone dying, someone sick in the family, or someone close to us just lost a relative, etc. And I believe that we need to ask ourselves the question, why are we afraid of it? It's because, of course, it's because we are attached to the people we love. And this will always be something that's hard to say goodbye. And for people, thank you, Laura. For people, we often, let's say that the most ultimate thing we can have in relationships to anyone is unattached relationships where it's just pure love, where we don't feel attached to it. So of course we are all attached many of us are attached to the people we love, and therefore it's so hard when they die, because we feel we lose a part of ourselves, etc. But I know that many of you guys that I know already believe in reincarnation, and there have been written so many books about it, like Michael Newton, for example. He's known for it because he has made a lot of interviews with people who died and came back to life again. What did they experience? How was it when they left the body and were hanging and watching the body from the outside? What happened? Who came? I mean, I'm not going to go into this. If you really want to know, okay, Maria's father died 46 years and mother still visit him. Yes, we visit someone writes, another Maria writes that we can always visit them at the cemetery, but we can also visit them in spirit, is what I believe. Just to finish up this with Michael Newton, if you're interested in learning about people who actually had the experience of leaving the body, dying, for minutes, and some was like even longer. It was crazy. And then they came, like people in coma, people who came back, who left the body, who went through the tunnel, who saw the light. You can look up Michael Newton. He has investigated this for decades. And just before my mom died, she was reading books of Michael Newton. And also this Danish writer called, it's amazing, Kamal, called Johannes Møllehave. He was known as he's a priest, and he was speaking about a Protestant priest, and he was speaking about that it's all gonna end well. The title, directly translated from Danish into English, is "It Ends Well." And my mom was reading this, and she wanted us to understand that we should not fear death. And now it's been 9 years since she died, and I hear her whisper in my ear, because I'm with her at night in my dreams, and I love this, that she still visits me. And it took me years to come out of the closet, because I've always been in contact with other dimensions, and I always intuitively got messages, and through my dreams I could see things, and I always sensed what people were feeling, which is why I even went to live in the forest for, how long did we live in the forest? 7 or 8 years, because I was just like, it's almost too much that I can sense people so clearly. And I got messages, I dream things before they happen. 3 months before my mom died, and she was not, she was always ill, or not ill, but someone said something about Johannes Møllehave. She was born with a handicap, so she was a mild spastic. They think it was because they tried to get her out during her birth. It was during she was born during the Second World War, on the 2nd of October, 43. That was the day when the Jews, it was Second World War, and in Denmark, in Copenhagen, the Jews were fleeing from Denmark to Sweden because of the German soldiers. And the Danish hospital, Rigshospitalet, the biggest hospital in Denmark, they were hiding the Jews underneath in the basement as the day she was born. So they must have been stressful, and she was even adopted. Her mother gave her up, so probably the mother was even stressed and didn't want to let her go of her. We don't know why she was giving her up. So as a mom, you probably don't want to give up your child, right? So she was fighting it, and the Jews and the stress and everything. So they took her with a tongue in Danish. I don't know the word. This instrument that does like this and pulls out. So perhaps something went wrong, and she had this handicap. So she was ill, but nothing were really indicating that she was gonna die, except. I'm gonna start with the dream, because that was 3 months before. I have these dreams that are more vivid than normal dreams. I'm traveling in these dreams, and I'm very, very aware. I can see the color. It's like astral traveling. You can look that up, and if you don't believe it, fine. In these dreams, the colors are different. The whole atmosphere is different, and I know that I'm having a vision. If you imagine that we, in 3 dimensions, when we are in the body, as we are right now, where we can feel that things are firm, and I can feel, okay, this is my arm, etc. This is 3D life, right? But imagine that science has try to prove that we have. I have to look for the people who are rescuing this dead car. Imagine that we've tried to prove within quantum physics that there are 11 dimensions. We only live and feel, experience, and can prove 3 dimensions. We can prove more than that. But let's just say that 3 dimensions is what we experience right now. But there are many other dimensions. And it is possible. We only use a small percentage of our brain, less than 10%. If you train this, and also born with a capability of opening up this sense, and just like riding a bicycle, if you never do it, you will be out of breath and bad at it. But if you train this capability, you can use it. And for me, I dreamt 3 months before, not dreamt, but traveled in a dream, or whatever you want to call it. I saw my mother's death. I saw how she was in the coffin. I saw, and it was in the vision. It was like a ship and made of wood, and she also had a wooden coffin, but clearly it was the color of wood. Everyone has wooden coffins, I believe, unless you have a lot of money. But I know our queen, the Danish queen, has this crazily expensive coffin just made for her. But anyway, and I saw my mom. Before she died, I saw that we were saying goodbye. I saw her death. I saw how my father's choir was singing, and that we were in that church. I could hear them in the background, and I was floating. I was seeing this, and I remember when I kind of got, because I was not dreaming. I was in this state between dream and awake. You can also read about that. This is a place where you can cross the dimensions. But the point is, if I already lost you here, fine. It's super fine with me. But I've experienced this so many times now. There's not a question of whether or not I was traveling, because I have had visions of things happening before they happened I could not have known. Also in the society, I've seen things, so doesn't matter. But I saw my mom's death, and the next time I came to their house, she said, "I'm so happy for this life that I lived. Now I have experienced everything I wanted." And what she didn't say, but that I heard between the lines, is, so now I might as well just die. It's my time. And that was 3 weeks before she left. And I remember I was 29, and I remember saying, "Oh no, Mom, you did not just, say goodbye like that." I know. I get emotional, of course. Didn't plan for this, but it's okay. It's another point that in our society we are afraid of showing our emotions when they are bad. But why is it bad that I'm crying now? I mean, usually I don't want to show when I'm crying, but now I'm in the middle of a live video. It's a little hard to hide. We always think that life has to be perfect and beautiful, and we have a definition of beautiful as only good feelings. But it's okay to face death and sorrow and grief, and we only post beautiful pictures of ourselves, like, ooh, now we look at my new hair, etc. And now I posted this beautiful picture of my mother in the coffin, but it's provoking people so crazily, because how can you show this about death? This is too much. We did not want to see this coffin. We did not want to see dead people. Well, in the news, you see people shoot each other every day. Why is it bad to show a beautiful picture of my mother lying there in the coffin, having had a beautiful life, died at the age of, it must have been 65. Too early in some people's opinion, but for her, fine. She had lived the life she wanted. She said that to me 3 weeks before. She came home from a party, get together of 5 girlfriends, and she got off of there was this car, what do you call it, electric car for handicapped people she was driving, and she fell down, and unfortunately there was some pillows that actually I had thrown in randomly into the garage when I left some weeks before, and she fell down, so she she was not bruised. And when my father found her the following morning, Maria, she says that it's normal in the Philippines to take pictures of the dead people and show it. Yes, because Maria, you come from a part of the world, Asia, where this is okay. But in Denmark, it's hard for people to, and that's why we're making this video. Thank you, Maria, for saying that. Yes, we're all going that way, Vibeke. And my mom, when my father found her, it was of course a shock, and the telephone call he made to me saying, "Mom is dead." And I was like, no, I didn't get to say this and that, but then I could do it later on through the contact that I felt that I had with her afterwards, because I was open to that. My heart was open to that. I could feel her free spirit as she was released of her pain in this body. She was happy when she died. She loved it. So it was only because for us that was there after her death, it was hard to let her go. But she was still there in spirit. It was so obvious. So my message here, not to make this too long, you can write and ask me questions if you want. It's just that try to ask yourself, do you really feel and think that this is it when we die? I don't want to convince you about other things if you don't want to, but could it be that our souls really live on? We are in this intelligent world where my car just died and I'm in this forest. I cannot get out. That's why I'm making this video. This is the most beautiful place and intelligently constructed, this earth. So beautiful, so extremely detailed, in immense beauty, that why on God's earth, as we call it, God's earth, would this life end when this body dies, when everything else in nature lives on? There's death and then there's rebirth. Even when a trunk of tree dies, tilts over, it lives on with the animals that comes and eats it, and then it has a new process, and then new life starts, etc. Why would this cycle not repeat for us? And even if it didn't, why do we have to fear the death? When we close the door, a new one opens, and everything can live on in our hearts, and eternity is alive. I know my mom is with me, and you can say that it's just because I want to believe it, and science says something else. But who says that at this point in evolution, science is right about everything? Because this point in evolution, we know everything. That's not so humble, is it? Don't fear death is my advice. I don't. I'm sure it's beautiful. That's what my mom is whispering in my ear. And I'm sorry for you guys that got offended by my mom's coffin. I'm not gonna take it down. She's so beautiful. She would have wanted me to let it be. And I'm sorry for those of you who has lost. I hope and wish that you allow the hard feelings to come up and work with them, speak with people, and allow yourselves to have it out in the open. And yes, I wish you luck and love with whatever you're doing in your life. And I hope that someone is gonna come and help me relive this car that now died. Unfortunately, I have this pillow. I think I'm gonna go and sit up a tree until they come and rescue me and do a little meditation out here. Maybe that was supposed to happen. Ciao.